up? My name's Alex. I work for Run for Cover Records. On this week's episode of Off the Radar we have Tom Welsh, who's a videographer from England. Tom's a really good friend of mine. He became known for his incredible tour documentaries. He's been on the road with a number of bands, and each time his work gets better and better. He has an amazing eye for film and definitely knows what he's talking about. He runs a really informative blog where he breaks down what he takes on tour, what he used, and it's really helpful for anyone who's looking to get into videography. I met up with Tom in Boston when he was on tour with You Me at 6, shooting a video for them. So yeah, here it is, this week's episode of Off the Radar.
A musical artist I'm really excited about right now is a guy called Tycho, which is the musical alter ego of a graphic designer called Scott Hansen, who I initially found through blogs years and years ago. It's sort of very out there, ambient electronic, and not traditionally what I think some people expect me to be into when I play it to them. It's kind of like, oh right, you like that stuff. And I went to see him a couple of years ago and it was one of the best shows I've ever seen, and it's one of those albums that you have and you're worried about the amount of plays it has on your iTunes because it's, you know, in the hundreds and hundreds. One of the recent articles I've read that I've really been not even excited about, but felt like I really passionately agreed with it is a website I read very regularly by a guy called Philip Bloom, who's a very prolific online famous filmmaker and is very good at what he does, but he writes regularly quite technical posts about cameras and new cameras and, you know, all the technical specs which people get so bogged down in, and myself included, you know, I will quite happily admit. And he wrote a big post about essentially work-life balance triggered by a few significant events. I don't start work at 9 and finish work at 5 like a lot of other people in our industry do. I work from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, and that has an effect on people around you. Maybe look at the wider picture, and the specs of X new camera don't matter in relation to your work and life balance. You know that you have to put a lot of importance on that. A photographer I really like is an Australian guy called Byrne. As many of us do in our phases of social networks and, you know, blogs, I used to follow a lot of people on Flickr and stopped for whatever reason, but I went back and looked through the people I follow and I found this photographer and I was just, you know, blown away by their work, and they'd obviously put stuff up since I'd last looked, and it's one of those people where, you know, you find it by the off chance and you spend the next hour or two looking back through every single page of their portfolio, of their blog, and just being like, you know, I can't even comprehend these images and how they were made and what they've gone through to look like that, and has that kind of aspirational lifestyle thing going on where you're like, you know, there's that girl or there's those people and you want to be a part of that. And I think being able to make people feel like that with images that you create is really, really cool. Film, so I mean, to put this into context, I work a lot with bands, sort of rock, pop, metal bands, but there's a guy's work who I follow online called, he goes on the alias of Final Kid, the Belgian guy called Charlie, and he does huge after movies, they've called, for all the big American dance festivals, and you know, where there's sort of hundreds of thousands of people. And that music isn't my thing. It's not something that I pay any attention to. I don't know anything about it, but I watch these videos and I'm just like blown away by, I think, A, the production quality, but B, the way that it captures that experience and the people having that experience, and it takes you to that place where I want nothing more than to be in this huge festival partying to music that I don't really like, and I'm convinced that that's like the best place in the world when that's happening. For my wildcard selection, to give it some context, we're currently on a US tour. I'm here with the band and we've been on the road for only sort of 3 weeks or so. Last week in Denver we discovered this place called Illegal Pete's, and they have what they brand as a starving musicians program, which basically offers free food to bands coming through the city. So what you do is hit them up and say, oh, we're playing at so and so down the road, and they're like, cool, like come in, and they fed all the bands and crew on the whole tour for no real reward that they got out of it. You know, I don't think any of them came to the show or anything, and when you're eating crap food normally every day, to get something handed to you like that, and the food was incredible, and you know, we had a great time there, so that's pretty cool. So Illegal Pete's, Denver, gotta check that out.